Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
How do you get ready? Like, you've never sung publicly before. For many, it feels like a massive step to go from an audience member to suddenly finding yourself facing the other direction, looking back at the audience, and then singing. So I want to talk through those things that are going to help us prepare to take that step. The first thing that we need to think about when it comes to that first public gig is, how do you know that you're ready? And that's often the biggest thing. Well, in one sense, you're kind of never going to feel 100% ready. If you're waiting for that moment where it's, you know, all the stars are going to align and you're going to see rainbows and unicorns, it's unlikely that that moment will happen for you. There is always going to be this sense in which you're having to step off into the nether. One of the number one things that will set you up for really high levels of performance anxiety, and let's be real, it's the nerves that's often the challenge that we're facing. Yeah, I feel so nervous and anxious about stepping onto stage and singing for people. What you want to ensure is that you're well prepared as you possibly can be. So that's got to come from consistent practice and consistent rehearsal. Be intentional about that. Don't set yourself up for failure by going, okay, I've decided I'm going to do my first public gig and I'm going to do it tomorrow. Why don't you set it for yourself, let's say in 3 months' time? Could even be less, 2 months' time. So you're giving yourself enough lead time to start to build some consistent practice so that material you're starting to get ready is going to be fully prepared. The second thing that you want to know is for you to know that you're ready is that you're getting consistently positive feedback from trusted sources. And when I say trusted sources, I'm referring to people who you know will be honest with you. That's not to say that you need them to be honest with you to tell you that you're amazing and that you'll be the best thing since sliced bread. It's people who are prepared to be honest with you and give you really good feedback as to where you are right now. It might come from a parent, it might come from a loved one, a bestie, someone who you know is going to give you with, you know, they're not going to be nasty, but they're not going to be telling you something that ain't the case. The other thing too is you want to have been probably doing this singing thing for long enough that you're starting to build up a collection of songs for yourself that really fit you, because not every song is going to fit you. In part, actually, I probably should have started with this point, because this needs to be what you do as a part of that consistent practice and rehearsal. The second thing is we do need to talk to the stage fright, the nerves, because what we don't want to do is downplay them. Nerves are real. Performance anxiety is a real thing. The thing about nerves is, don't try to ignore them. Acknowledge them. See them. Expect them. It's when we try to kind of put them to the side and not think about being nervous that they'll rush up on us and surprise us or, scare us, because suddenly we get to the point of, oh, I'm nervous, what do I do? So do things to prepare. There's a whole video that I've got on the channel, quite an old one, I think, about workshopping through nerves and how to manage them. But you can do simple things like, for me, what I know for my performance anxiety is I have a memory loss. Suddenly all of the lyrics will, I don't know where they go, but they're lost to me. And so what I always do is I always have a printed, not on my phone, although that's a handy feature to have now, isn't it? But I always have them printed on paper so that when, not if, for me, it's when my brain goes blank immediately before I'm about to step on stage, I can simply open the book, look at the song, read the lyric and go, that's right, that's what the lyrics are. And so it doesn't permit my performance anxiety to escalate. Another de-escalation strategy is breath management. And in fact, you can use exercise 12 within Voice Essentials 1 as a really effective strategy for de-escalating the adrenaline output as performance anxiety hits. And so if you don't already have Voice Essentials 1, I encourage you to go check it out. The links are in the description section of this video. These are all skills that we know we need to learn to manage so that we can really keep on top of that stage fright. The key thing that is going to escalate performance anxiety is a lack of preparation. I know for me, it definitely is. The times when I have really experienced significantly heightened performance anxiety have been because I know, more so in reflection, that I just wasn't well prepared. I hadn't dedicated the time, the effort to prepare and know my songs. The third thing is start to think about your performance as being more than just the songs, more than just the pitch, more than just remembering the words. The performance is so much more. Your audience make a decision about you and how they feel about or what they think they're going to anticipate experiencing visually first. So before you've opened your mouth to start singing, they're going to make an assessment of you. We are visual creatures, us human beings, and we are very visually orientated. And so we make a decision visually. It's then really important, what am I wearing? What am I trying to communicate about what I'm about to sing? If you walk out in a baseball cap, high tops and I don't know, a hoodie, people would be well justified in thinking they're about to hear Eminem. So if you start singing jazz, the picture and the sound, that won't marry. And so suddenly there's this, it can throw people off. Now, then think about your facial expressions. Remember your face, particularly your eyes, but your face is going to communicate something. We certainly hope it's going to communicate something. People are going to be looking at your face. Don't be surprised by that. So make sure that your face is communicating exactly the heart, the intent of what you're trying to say. Remember, these are all things that we're remembering for our first ever public performance. Make sure that anything you do physically has reason. We talk about this as being a sense of connection. So we always talk, my wife and I, who's a high school drama teacher, if we see, a performer and you kind of get this unmotivated movement that has no reason for being there. It creates a disconnect between what you're singing, the lyric, and your audience. If you can't think of a reason, if there's no sense of motivation to move, then don't. Something I often do when I'm masterclassing singers is I often will put them on a mic stand to start, because what I want to do is center them. I want to bring any unnecessary movement of arms and legs and who knows what else and center them. It's interesting to feel how different that is as the performer to not move. It actually is quite a strong position on stage. You wouldn't want to do a whole gig of, 45, 50 minutes. You wouldn't want to do a whole show of that. But certainly for your first gig, your first song, that might be something for you, somewhere for you to start. This is something that's really important, your voice care. And it has to start with a really good night's sleep the night before. You will not sing your best. You will not think your best if you're tired. And so I want to really remind you how important it is for you to sleep well. I know sleep can be a real challenge for a lot of people, actually. So do what you can to get the best night's sleep, and the best is going to be different for all of us, and as to how many hours that might look like. Do your best to get a really good night's sleep so that you are, you've got full facility ready to go. Stay hydrated throughout the day. Actually, come right back to months before this moment. Start your hydration. Get that systemic hydration up. Remember, we want to be sipping 2 to 3 liters of water all day, every day. So don't, on the day of your gig, just suddenly start, hitting your body with excess amounts of water that it's just going to, get rid of. Make sure your systemic hydration is really in good play in the lead up to the day and the day of. Nerves are going to, for many, cause you to want to practice the song. Let's say it's a single song you're going to be doing. Nerves are going to want to make you do it over and over and over again on the day of the gig. Don't do that. If you don't know the song by the day of the gig, it's too late. And all over practicing will do on the day is tire you out vocally. And you don't want to be in that position. You want to be in a position that says, I'm going to be vocally good to go when I have to step up and actually, run the gold medal race. You will need to warm up. Of course you need to warm up. You need to prepare the voice for the task, but that does not mean over practicing. Important. So you want to warm up before going on stage. I would recommend doing probably, let's say, we'll create a scenario. Your gig, your performance is 7 o'clock at night. Let's say it's going to be a performance of 3 songs. And what you want to do is around about 4:30, between 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I want you to do a 10-minute vocal warm-up and run your songs, the 3 songs, in the order that you're going to run them, one after the other, and that's it. Then when you get to the gig's at 7 o'clock, which is 2 hours later, what you're going to do, you might do some light humming, some SOVTs, so some lip bubbles. Remembering you've already kind of done your full warm-up. Now we're just re-prepping the voice, getting some blood flow going, getting it all ready to go so that when this is in the sort of the 6:40, the 20 minutes prior to actually stepping onto stage, and then be calm, be quiet. Don't find yourself over talking if you can avoid it. Immediately prior to stepping onto stage, and then you'll be ready to go. But the only way to do that is to be fully warmed, but not over practiced. We've got 3 more slides from memory. Oh, it might be 2 more slides. Stick around. We'll all find out. Engage with your audience. This is the part that you may well walk away and go, oh, next time I want to have more eye contact with my audience, because it's often in our first performance that this is the real challenging bit. This is the part that's really, really hard to master and takes time and practice. But if you can, in the moment, let's say in that 3-song gig that we're talking about, maybe that first song is the first song where you're like just settling yourself in. Try to remember into the second and the third songs that the audience is there. Try to remember that you are going to gain some contact with them visually through your eyes. Try to remember to contact with them. Use the body language that we talked. Remember that your audience isn't only watching your face. Predominantly it's your face, but they're also looking at all of you. They're actually looking at all of the stage also. So if you're on stage with a whole audience, with a whole band, then they're watching the band members as well, but they are going to constantly reorientate to you because you're going to be calling their attention by virtue of the fact that you're the one that's doing the singing. We're trying to do things on stage that convey a sense of assuredness, a sense of stability and comfort. You don't have to portray an arrogant confidence, but just a sense of being settled. This is hard to do in your first gig. I can't remember getting this right, but that being said, I never had anyone tell me what to do for my first gig. I was just handed a mic and up you get. And I've been learning these things that we're talking through ever since. And respond to audience reactions and energy. Your audience, can I tell you, your audience, they so want you to do well. They really, really, really want you to have a great gig. In part because if you don't, that's awkward for everyone. And no one wants to be awkward. So they are on your side. They are rooting for you. They just want the best for you, in part because they want the best for them. They want to hear a great vocal performance. Your audience is very, very likely to get to the end of said performance and then clap, Oh, I did like a little round clap there. They're going to applaud your performance at the end. When they do that, you need to acknowledge that applause. So the moment the music finishes, you stop singing, don't head for the side stage. Wait, hold, acknowledge the applause, because the applause will come. Even if it's only a polite applause, it will come. Acknowledge it, receive the applause, because it's the right thing to do. They've just taken the time to sit through your performance. The least you can do is receive their 10 seconds of applause, and then, if it's appropriate, bow and move off. Never treat your audience flippantly. Whatever, just acknowledge it, thank them, receive it. It's really important. It's very good performer etiquette. What about when we do make mistakes? Because that's going to happen. If you get through your first ever performance mistake-free, wow, that's awesome. I don't think that's the majority of people's experience, whether it be you drop a lyric, you forget a lyric, you hit a bum note. There's so many different things that can happen that on the surface of it that can be things that go wrong. But all throughout, I want you to maintain your composure. In part because mistakes are expected. They happen. You're a human being. and therefore you are imperfect and you make errors. That's just the way it is. Certainly the way it is for me. Acknowledge those errors. Acknowledge the errors in anticipation that they're going to happen. So just accept that they're going to be there and don't let them derail your performance. That's the key point here. When they happen, just let them go. Don't fixate on them. Just notice them, move on to the rest of the performance. This is the harder one. And I went to say it gets easier as time goes on. Does it? I think you get more able to receive constructive criticism. I think you do. Sometimes it's not well-meaning, but often it is. Often it's really well-meaning. People who want to just say, oh, next time, don't fidget with the side of your dress, or next time try to avoid that nervous little giggle. Or these are often constructive pieces of criticism, but they can be hard to receive. What I want to encourage you to do, don't actively seek out constructive criticism for the first 24 hours, or that being said, the day of the performance. Just try to surround yourself in the glow of having done the gig, having done your first public performance. Just try to sit in that, enjoy it, and then tomorrow dissect it. Don't dissect it in the moment. Just allow it to be what it is and what it was on the day, and then tomorrow you can reflect and perhaps watch back those videos that friends have taken on mobile phones and what have you. So just be careful about that criticism. It's a big thing to do your first gig. There are so many factors to think through when it comes to doing your first public performance, and hopefully the things we've just gone through will prove beneficial. You're not going to remember to do it all. You're not. So don't hold yourself to that expectation. Just simply try to prepare well, warm up well, sleep well prior. I always say to my private students, your number one in the context of doing whether it be an audition, a first time sing, your aim is to walk away satisfied that you did do the best you could in that moment. That's your aim. Everything else is up for grabs. Everything else, if you've had a really positive experience, is a bonus. But it goes a long way to helping to manage your expectations around what it will or will not be.